Divine Whisper. The Voice of God Himself. A story of two brothers, Mark and John, and the incredible journey they embarked upon, a journey guided by the faintest of whispers, the gentlest of nudges, the voice we often call our conscience or our mind. Some will say, "Something told me," but I believe is nothing less than the voice of God Himself. Mark and John grew up in a small town, surrounded by rolling hills and friendly faces. They were as close as brothers could be, yet as different as night and day. Mark was always the cautious one, carefully weighing every decision, while John was the free spirit, leaping before he looked. As they reached adulthood, both brothers felt a calling, a soft, persistent voice in their hearts, urging them to leave their hometown and venture into the world. This voice spoke of purpose, of lives they could touch, of a greater destiny awaiting them. Mark listened intently to this voice. He recognized it as something beyond himself, a divine guidance, a heavenly whisper. John, however, brushed it off as mere fancy, a trick of an overactive imagination. Mark decided to heed the call. With nothing but a backpack and unwavering faith, he set out on a journey that would change his life forever. The voice led him to a bustling city, where he found work at a local shelter. At first, the work was hard and thankless. Many nights, Mark questioned his decision. But he kept listening to that gentle voice, which assured him he was exactly where he needed to be. As months passed, Mark's kindness and dedication began to make a real difference. He started a program to help the homeless find jobs, reunited broken families, and brought hope to those who had lost all faith in humanity. One day, a wealthy businessman visited the shelter. Moved by Mark's work, he offered to fund the expansion of the program across the entire city. Suddenly, Mark found himself at the helm of a movement that was changing thousands of lives. Through it all, Mark never forgot to listen to that quiet voice. It guided him in making decisions, comforted him in times of doubt, and celebrated with him in moments of joy. Mark's life became a testament to the power of following divine guidance. Meanwhile, John stayed behind in their hometown. He ignored the persistent whisper in his heart, convincing himself it was nothing more than childish dreaming. Instead, he focused on building a successful business, determined to prove that he could make it on his own. At first, things seemed to go well. John's business took off, and he soon became one of the wealthiest men in town. But despite his success, he felt empty inside. The voice in his heart grew fainter, but it never completely disappeared. As years went by, John's business practices became increasingly unethical. He justified his actions, telling himself that this was the price of success. But deep down, he knew he was betraying his true self. One fateful day, John's dubious practices were exposed. His business crumbled overnight, and he found himself alone, his reputation in tatters. In his darkest hour, John finally realized the mistake he had made in ignoring that gentle voice for so long. 10 years after they had parted ways, Mark and John's paths crossed again. Mark had come back to their hometown to expand his outreach program. When he heard about John's downfall, he immediately sought out his brother. John, expecting judgment and condemnation, was surprised to find only love and understanding in Mark's eyes. As they talked through the night, John opened up about the voice he had ignored for so long, and the regret that now consumed him. Mark listened patiently, then shared his own story, the challenges he had faced, the doubts he had overcome, and the incredible journey that following the voice had led him on. As dawn broke, John felt something stirring in his heart, that familiar whisper, no longer faint, but clear and strong. With Mark's support, John began to rebuild his life. This time, he listened carefully to the voice within, allowing it to guide his actions and decisions. It wasn't easy. There were many who doubted him, many obstacles to overcome. But John persevered, driven by a newfound purpose. He used his business skills to help Mark's organization, developing sustainable models that allowed the outreach programs to become self-sufficient. Together, the brothers created a network of support that spread across the country, touching countless lives. John's story became one of redemption, a powerful testament to the fact that it's never too late to start listening to the voice within. His journey inspired many others who had lost their way, showing them that second chances are always possible when we open our hearts to divine guidance. My friends, Mark's story illustrates the incredible advantages of heeding that inner voice. Thank you for watching. Subscribe for more beautiful African tales.